The movie starts with an old commercial for the Willy's Wonderland restaurant, showing all of its creepy animatronics, its creepy theme song, and a bunch of kids who probably grew up to be psychopaths. Suddenly we cut to a woman in a bloody employee t-shirt. She looks scared, but why? What could it be? We see that her husband is also with her. They both run away, but something grabs the husband and drags him away into the dark. The wife continues to make a break for it, but something mysterious stops her. We see glimpses of a child hiding before the mom is brutally taken out. Welcome to Recap, where we break down our favorite movies and how they're made. My name is Devolt, and today we're diving into Willy's Wonderland, the 2021 horror flick where Nicolas Cage takes on possessed animatronics with nothing but brute force and zero dialogue. Before we step into this grease-stained nightmare arcade, make sure to like, subscribe, and throat punch that like button. Or Willy might just drag you off to his Wonderland next. Grab a punch pop and gear up, because this isn't just another Five Nights at Freddy's knockoff. It's a chaotic, blood-splattered showdown you'll have to see to believe. Why does this movie exist? Willy's Wonderland isn't just a low-budget action horror flick. It's a full-throttle, batshit insane brawl between Nicolas Cage and demonic animatronics. And somehow, it works. Released in 2021, this film came out swinging during the post Five Nights at Freddy's horror boom, tossing in a silent protagonist, haunted mascots, and gallons of oil and blood for good measure. It shouldn't make sense, but that's what makes it unforgettable. Originally conceived as a tongue-in-cheek survival horror, Willy's Wonderland rides the wave of killer animatronic chaos started by internet lore and fan games, but dials it all the way up with an energy drink-fueled Cage at the center. No lines, no fear, just fists, mop buckets, and pure rage. While it never got a wide theatrical run, its cult status exploded online thanks to its bizarre tone, ridiculous kills, and the sheer novelty of watching Nicolas Cage clean bathrooms between beatdowns. With an estimated budget of just $5 million, the movie embraced its grindhouse roots and found an audience that wanted nothing more than to watch a possessed ostrich get drop-kicked into a wall. Whether you think it's genius or garbage, Willy's Wonderland proved that horror doesn't have to be deep. It just needs to be weird, violent, and completely unhinged. Before we dive into the chaos, let's break down what this movie is really about, and why horror fans couldn't look away. Willy's Wonderland follows a mysterious drifter who agrees to clean an abandoned family fun center for one night, only to discover the animatronics inside are possessed by murderous souls. But instead of running, he grabs a mop, downs an energy drink, and takes them out one by one with absurd kills, a synthy soundtrack, and zero dialogue from its lead. This movie fully commits to the madness, and that's exactly why it works. What makes Willy's Wonderland stand out isn't just the absurd premise, it's how the movie fully commits to it. With cheesy effects, absurd fight scenes, and a Nicolas Cage performance that's equal parts unhinged and iconic, the film walks the line between parody and grindhouse homage. It's dumb, it's loud, and somehow it just works. Whether you think it's horror gold or a fever dream in Chuck E. Cheese, Willy's Wonderland is one wild ride you won't forget. We cut into the future to see a montage of a mysterious man speeding down country roads in his Chevy muscle car. He suddenly gets a flat tire out of nowhere. This is feeling very wrong turnish. It's revealed that his tires were punctured by a spike trap that someone had laid out. A mysterious figure takes the spike trips and loads it into his car, revealing a buttload of punch energy drinks. He cracks one open, takes a sip, and then his identity is revealed. It's Nicolas Cage, baby! So you know this movie is going to be weird and crazy at the very least. A pickup truck arrives. We cut to Nick Cage driving with the tow truck driver, who does not stop talking. And to make it worse, Nick Cage is mute in this movie, so him saying nothing makes the babbly driver seem even more babbly. Suddenly we're outside of Willy's Wonderland. An edgy teen girl is trying to set the place on fire. Is she the kid from the opening scene? Let's find out. The edgy teen gets busted by the town sheriff just before she can set the restaurant alight. As the sheriff drags the delinquent out of her car, the tow truck driver with Nicolas Cage drives past and stops for a quick chat. The teen and Nick Cage share a weird, intense look, and then we move on. The sheriff handcuffs the girl to a radiator. She also seems to be the girl's parent or legal guardian, and even though this is technically child abuse, the sheriff still comes off as likable and funny. While Nick is getting his car looked at, he spots a bunch of missing person posters. kinda sus, but I bet you he already knows that. Nick Cage knows everything. The tow truck driver, Jeb, reveals the price for the repairs and that he doesn't take cards at all. Also, the town's ATMs are all conveniently broken. I sense that something messed up is about to go down. Jeb proposes that Nick work off the debt, and Nick agrees. Jumping ahead, we arrive at Willy's Wonderland, and honestly, it looks like a vibe. I can never get over how cool the logo looks. So retro, so cool, very nice. We meet Tex McAdoo and he instantly gives off Doug Dimmadome vibes. You know Doug Dimmadome, right? Doug Dimmadome, the owner of the Dimsdale Dimmadome?
Doug Dimmadome? The owner of the Dimsdale Dimmadome?
Not right.
Not right?
That's right. Doug Dimmadome. Dimmadome. Dimsdale Dome. Dale Dimsdale Dimmadome. Owner of the Dimmadome. Dimsdale Dimmadome. Doug Dale Dome. Dimsdale Dome. Dimsdale Dimmadome.
The same Doug Dimmadome, owner of the Dimsdale Dimmadome where they're showing Crash Nebula?
On us?
Yeah!
Not right.
Not right?
That's right. Timmy Turner, my name is Timmy Dimmadome, owner of the...
Anyway, Tex explains that he's planning on reopening the restaurant and he wants Nick to clean the place throughout the night. Seems fair. Nick exchanges an intense look with the Willy sign. Second intense look of the movie, they're more frequent than kills at this point. We see another vintage commercial, introducing all the Willy's Wonderland animatronics. Tex explains that there's been lawsuits against the restaurant, but he blames the children for getting hurt. Sure. We get a close-up of Willy Weasel, and the animatronics design and execution looks really cool. I'll always choose practical effects over CGI, it just feels so much more fun and so much more real. Tex gives Nick some final words of encouragement and then he heads off. We see him outside the restaurant chatting to Jeb. He says that they should leave because he can't stand to hear a grown man scream. Geez, that's dark, but okay. Next we see a group of moody teens breaking Liv, our delinquent, out. Each of the teens have a unique personality and they wear it on their sleeves 100%. We've got the shy nice guy, the nerdy dude with glasses, the douchebag, the jock, and the slutty popular girl. Your average lineup, I suppose. They agreed to go save Nick, and apparently they know more than we do. Cut to Nick busy spring cleaning with military precision. I wonder what his backstory is. Is he CIA, FBI, or just a quiet dude with a spray-on beard? Oh well. Nick explores the restaurant a bit, even finding a freezer to put his punch energy drinks in. He turns on the water and the entire building's plumbing shakes. Even the building is terrified at this point. Nick cracks open a cold punch soda before discovering an old pinball machine. And the way this man looks at and touches the pinball machine, it gives off major I'm in love with my pinball machine vibes. Back to Nick Cage cleaning. Suddenly a light switches on, illuminating the Willy's Wonderland animatronics. While Nick continues to clean, we see Ozzy the ostrich wake up and approach Nick. Nick seems very unbothered with an animatronic swearing death upon him. Anyway, Nick and Ozzy fight back and forth. Ozzy cuts Nick's cheek and Nick, well, he beats Ozzy's head into a metally, oily soaked pulp. Nick goes to the supply closet to clean up. He grabs a clean employee shirt and he's ready for some more violence. We meet our police deputy. He tells us about his family and overall he seems like a really nice guy. He's definitely gonna die. Cut back to Nick. His watch beeps and it's time for him to take another soda break. Forget the animatronics. The bigger danger to this man is diabetes. He cleans, drinks soda, and cleans some more. Next he moves on to the bathrooms. Say what you want about this movie, but at the very least it's an extremely satisfying cleaning montage. Nick hears an animatronic singing. He stops cleaning and decides to investigate. He switches all the animatronics off and then goes back to cleaning. But wait, someone wrote "It's your birthday" on the bathroom mirror using blood. Or ketchup. We hear a weird voice coming from the toilet stalls. Nick investigates and on the final stall, Gus the gorilla jumps out from the toilet and tries to beat the bananas out of our boy Nicky Cage. Nick goes full ape and plunges the life out of Gus in an epic fight scene. The fight ends with Nick stomping the animatronic juices out of Gus. Nick then changes shirts again before heading back to spring cleaning. This man is the king of chill vibes. Nick stares intensely once again, this time at Willy the Weasel. Just before something happens, we hear Nick's watch beep. It's time for another soda, and then it's back to cleaning. Or not, we're sandpapering our fingernails. Okay then. Nick plays some more pinball before getting back to work. Meanwhile, we see our ragtag group of edgy teens show up to the building. They pour gasoline onto the building, but before lighting it all on fire, Liv tells them that they need to save our boy Nick first. It's revealed that this group knows about the animatronics and the horrors that Willy's Wonderland holds. We cut to Liv crawling through the air vents as Willy wakes up. Not good. Next we see E.I.E the alligator stalking Liv in the vents. He suddenly attacks, grabbing and biting at her before she narrowly escapes, falling into an indoor garden of sorts. She looks around cautiously and learns that she's not alone. Siren Sarah is here and she wants to play. Sarah tackles Liv out of the frame and we cut to Nick with an intense look on his face. His signature power in this movie, intense looks. Nick investigates and Liv literally falls into his lap from a tree. Once Nick sees she's alive, he goes back to cleaning. This man is definitely on the spectrum. He has zero social awareness. Liv's friends confront Chris about him being such a simp for Liv. Chris tackles Robbie and everyone goes crashing through the roof into a ball pit. The animatronics wake up, Liv tries to stab Siren Sarah, but Nick stops her. Why? I don't know. Intense stare. He steals her knife and wanders off. Everyone follows him except Robbie, our jock, and the slutty popular girl. They sneak off to the real Wonderland of Willy. Liv tells Nick about the history of Willy's Wonderland. Apparently it was started by a sick creeper called William Afton. Jerry. His name was Jerry. Jerry hired a bunch of other sickos, and they kidnapped and murdered hordes of children. When the police finally showed up, Jerry and the gang had committed mass satanic self-delete, and it seems that in the same style as Chucky, they've been spiritually transferred into the bodies of the fluffballs. They also say that Tex made a deal with the devil. I feel like a prequel to Willy's Wonderland would be so cool. Cut back to Robbie and Slutty as they set the mood for their frisk session. We see Nick cleaning. He's a man on a mission, and I guess we can respect that. Willy starts singing a song for the teens, who are distracted just long enough for the douchey one to get stabbed by Nighty Night. Everyone runs away, except for Liv. Then we're suddenly back to Nick, drinking his soda and pinballing his life away. Nerdy Guy gets stalked by Siren Sarah, while Simpy McSimpson calls the sheriff's office to report that they're at Willy's Wonderland. The sheriff suits up and heads out to save the day. Nerdy Guy finally meets his demise, getting eaten to death in the ball pit. Shame. He was boring. We jump back to Nick beating the living bejesus out of Nighty Night before using his own sword to decapitate him. Brutal. Nick exchanges another intense stare with Liv before we cut to E.I.E the alligator, pervingly staring at Robbie and his girlfriend getting their freak on. E.I.E is a cuck confirmed. Suddenly E.I.E disappears and reappears behind our couple before quickly tearing Robbie into pieces as his girlfriend screams for her life. Nick kicks the door down and sees E.I.E standing over the dead bodies. E.I.E panics and Nick goes full Rambo mode, running at E.I.E, tackling him, tearing his mouth open and ripping his circuits out. Again, brutal. We cut to Cammy the chameleon looking for Chris. Cammy somehow takes the idea of creepy animatronics to a whole new level. She reminds me of that friend of your grandma that always just wants to smooch you. Yuck. Cammy convinces Chris to come out from his hiding spot with words. This boy is a pushover and I feel sorry for him. Back with our sheriff and deputy driving, the sheriff tells us a bit more about Willy's Wonderland. Apparently the night before the place was supposed to be demolished, the contractor was killed, and the animatronics were so pissed and hungry that they almost murdered and ate the entire town. These animatronics are hungry for human meat. Cool. Anyway, the sheriff, Tex and Jeb ended up making a deal with Willy and his gang. They will supply them with victims to eat, and in return, they won't leave the restaurant. Also, our Liv theory was right. Liv is indeed the kid from the start of the movie. Okay, side note. Would you make this deal? Feed innocent people to satanic cannibalistic animatronics in order to save your own family? Let me know in the comments below. Cammy is about to end Chris's sad life, but then Liv shows up along with Nick. But just before Nick can slaughter another animatronic, his watch beeps and he takes a break, drinks some soda, plays pinball, and yeah, bad timing, dude. Liv tries to kill Cammy by herself, but with no luck. Just before Cammy can end Liv, Nick shows up and strangles the living chimichangas out of Cammy. He drags her towards the entrance, knocking Sarah and Tito out with his free hand in the process. This man is unstoppable, except at public speaking. The sheriff holds Nick at gunpoint, telling him he can't leave. Liv, however, the sheriff says can go. The sheriff apologizes to Nick before walking off, leaving him for his own demise. Our deputy cop seems to have a conscience and might go back. Inside the restaurant, Nick gets cornered by Sarah and Cammy. They seem confident and ugly as ever. Nick starts convulsing or dancing. Is that dancing? I have no idea. Liv is grilling the deputy as he drives her home. She gets to him and he turns the car around. But before he can drive away, Artie grabs him by the throat. Somehow Artie has been on top of the police car this whole time. Sure, there was a giant Spanish robot turtle on your roof and you didn't notice. Okay, whatever. Cut back to Nick and he's using his thunder thighs to crush Sarah's head. There's definitely some messed up fanfics about this. Anyway, Nick gets up and rips Cammy's head off, right as Liv ends Tito's sad existence. Nick changes his shirt and gets back to spring cleaning. This man is dedicated and deserves a promotion. I know he doesn't actually work here, but still. He even covered the dead bodies of the teens. So thoughtful, so strong, so nice. Nick finally finishes cleaning the entire restaurant. He walks over to Willy, who is standing creepily on stage. Nick stares intensely, and then his watch beeps. We all know what that means. Soda, pinball, and low-effort dancing. Okay, I'm on board. This man knows the secret to a work-life balance. And apparently, the secret is pinball. Outside, we see the sheriff taking a nap. She's woken up by Nick throwing away trash bags, and she can't believe that he won't die. She forces him back into the restaurant using her trusty shotgun. We see that Willy is gone. The sheriff lady shouts for Willy and suddenly the lights go out. When they come back on, Willy is standing behind the sheriff. He slices her body in half before starting to brawl with Nick. Nick seems to be tripping or disorientated or probably coming down from a sugar high. You really shouldn't be drinking that much soda. Nick decides that he's had enough. He grabs his last cans of punch, duct tapes some sticks together and heads out. Ready to leave and take anyone out who stands in his way. Moving on, Willy stands in his way. Nick uses his bag of soda cans to beat the wonder out of Willy. Nick makes it look so easy, you almost feel bad for Willy. You know, if he wasn't a child diddling serial killer. Nick finishes Willy off by smashing his head in before ripping it off and throwing it onto the floor. Outside the restaurant, Jeb is doing donuts with Nick's car, or apparently Tex's car. Every time someone dies, he takes their car and adds it to his collection. We see Siren Sarah is still alive and she escapes from the dumpster. She spots the gasoline and the lighter. This gives her an idea and it gives me anxiety. Tex looks through the door and is amazed by the clean restaurant, and so am I. Nick did an incredible job. What if he's actually a cleaner? If not, he should be. Never waste your God-given talents, bro. Jeb and Tex let Nick go. I mean, he did keep up his part of the bargain. Outside the restaurant, Nick sees Liv. They exchange some more intense looks before they both get into Nick's car. Maybe he's telepathic. It seems like he communicates through his eyes. I mean, like any good actor should. Anyway, Nick and Liv spin off. Jeb and Tex laugh as they think they've escaped, but Sarah pops up with a lighter and sets the car, the restaurant, and herself on fire. All at once. I mean, I would have thought the gasoline would have evaporated by now, but what do I know? I'm a YouTuber. Tito stands in the middle of the road as Nick and Liv drive him over on the way to a happy ending. Just before the credits roll, we're treated to a fun little animation of the Willy's Wonderland logo. And that's it. That's the end. The credits roll and there's no post-credit scene in this one. So, is Willy's Wonderland a cinematic masterpiece? Absolutely not. But does it deliver over-the-top animatronic carnage, Nicolas Cage rage fighting a giant weasel, and some of the weirdest horror energy you'll ever see? Oh yeah, this movie knows exactly what it is. A chaotic, low-budget beatdown of logic, story, and insanity. And it fully leans into the madness. There's barely a plot, the side characters are forgettable, and the dialogue practically non-existent, especially from Cage, who doesn't say a single word the entire film. But somehow, that silent janitor versus demonic mascots formula hits a weirdly entertaining nerve. Visually it's grungy, neon lit, and just cheesy enough to feel like a forgotten B-movie gem you'd rent on accident and love on purpose. We give Willy's Wonderland 7.5 sus energy drinks out of 10. It's dumb, it's loud, and it's kind of awesome. But what did you think? Is this the blueprint for more animatronic beatdown flicks? What should we recap next? Let us know in the comments below. And if you want more movie breakdowns, make sure to like, subscribe, and throat punch that bell icon so you never miss the next episode. Stay sharp and remember, If someone offers you a free night shift at a rundown kids restaurant, just say no and back away slowly. Until next time, I'm Dewalt and this has been Recap.